what we call 2-inch diverters, which it's a little bit of a misnomer. They actually, if you measure from the outside of the cap, if you measure across this cap, it's about 3 3/4 inches. So we're going to talk about that right now. We're going to talk about complete diverters, diverter kits, handles, caps, O-rings, as well as the guts, the part that goes inside of it. The little stem is what I call it, so stay tuned. So before we talk about complete diverters, I want to talk about diverter, what we call caps and knobs. That'd be a cap, that'd be a knob. And you can see that these actually interchange, but you'll run into stuff like this right here. You see how that doesn't exactly fit that perfect. Now you could choose this and just take a knife and trim that down, and that would work okay on it, but that's not the right cap for the handle. And these handles all look very similar. You can see that's a cow spa. That particular one right there fits a marquee, and you can see that the size of the back is the same, basically the same. When I put this with this cap, you can see that the color's different, and there's a giant gap right there. So the cap for this is a little bit different. What's weird is this cap will not interchange with these caps. The thread size is way larger, completely different brand, although this part looks very similar. The other thing that you have is you have things like these kinds of knobs. You see that's a cow spa knob, that's a dynasty knob, and they do fit on top of these types of caps. They work on this brand and they will somewhat interchange with them. And here's a cow spa, but you see what the cap looks like. It's smaller on outside diameter than those caps. You see it's actually smaller, but it has to be in order for this to go on. So I told you all that to tell you this. If you have this kind of a diverter, any of these, be sure that you're buying the right thing. Look at the measurements, watch the videos. Don't just look at it and go, yep, that looks like mine, and order it. For instance, I get people that order this particular knob that I have because it's metal reinforced, and they'll buy it to replace this knob. This is a Jacuzzi Premium. These two do not look anything alike, and they're not even close to fitting. So that's the knob that it goes with. That's the cap. You see that? So look at this one. That's not even close to fitting. So who would even think that? But you'll be surprised how many people will think, well, that one's reinforced, so I'll take that. So don't make a mistake and buy these kinds of parts for Jacuzzi Premium. Jacuzzi Premium has its own caps, its own handles, its own stems. These do not interchange with this other stuff. Completely different brand, different size thread, different everything is different. So don't get that mixed up. The other thing that you have is this brand, the Pentair brand, and this cap measures 5 inches across, which is a lot larger than this. They look very similar if you just pull and look, you know, for the average person, but don't get these mixed up. I have these in the store as well. So now we're going to move on to the actual diverters and what they look like inside, so stay tuned. So I offer this diverter valve in my store. The reason I offer this is because this style, this is the main one that I sell, and I offer parts for this style, and the parts will actually somewhat interchange between the two. But the reason I offer this particular one is because it has a reinforced handle, which is trying not to come off for some reason. It comes with the reinforced handle. That is the style that I sell in my store. So I'm going to put that aside, and we're going to talk about this. This is what I would consider a universal diverter. You'll see this on a lot of different brands, although as I showed you, the knob may look different, the cap may look different. What you need to do is verify your sizes. So your plumbing size is 2 inch, which is going to measure about 2 3/8 inch in here, and here, and here. 2 3/8 inch on the outside of the hose, the pipe that glues inside of here. If you take it apart, you'll see, let's pull this thing apart. It just simply unscrews lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. You can pull the knob off. That's what the knob looks like on the back. You pull the cap off. That's what the cap looks like on the back. It has 2 O-rings. Some of the older ones have 2 O-rings, and they'll have a loose washer right here. You can see this washer is actually made onto the stem now. This is a diverter gate or a stem. This particular one is a Waterway brand, but there's other brands that interchange with it. It will interchange with this. You see, this is a white one and this is a black one. virtually identical, other than this one's a little more solid than this one, but it's just the difference in two manufacturers, that's all. So then you have that O-ring. I sell these O-ring kits. It'll be 2 little O-rings and 1 big O-ring. I also sell O-ring kits for other brands, so you got to do your measurements. So those O-rings, if you measure, the big O-ring is going to measure about 2.5 inches across if you measure center to center in this little groove that it fits in. If you measure across the threads where the cap screws on, it's going to measure about 2 7/8. So it's about 2 7/8 inches from there to there. Do not get it confused with a cap like this right here. You see that cap looks aesthetically very, very similar. It is slightly larger. You can see that. And the threads on this particular one, which is a marquee tub, it's 3 inches across. So you got 2 7/8 and 3 inches, will not interchange. So don't get them mixed up. Make sure you're buying the right thing. Check your measurements, don't guess. The handle, if you're looking at the back part, if the part that goes on the stem, I'm going to actually pull the stem and measure the stem. Let's measure the stem. If you measure that, it measures about 7/16 inches, which is just a hair less than 1/2 inch across. So the part that you can see it's square, that fits on there about 7/16 of an inch. And then you can see your body. This is the body. If I measure the height of it, it's about 7 inches that way, and it's about 5 7/8 inches that way. And you can see that you can actually see right through it. And the idea is when you put the gate in there, the gate diverts. See, I can close this part off, close that part off, or make it where the water will go through. This is the inlet. These are the outlets. So basically the water goes up inside here and it goes either that way, or it goes both ways. The way I've got it right now, it'll go both ways. If I turn it like this, it'll go this way. If I turn it like that, it goes the other way. You see that? That's what this does. That's the purpose of the gate. You can see the shape of the gate right there. So to put it together, you would drop that down in there. I would usually put my O-rings inside of the cap first. Another thing that you need to look at if you're looking for parts is buttress and non-buttress. If you look, the word buttress is actually written inside of that cap. If you look at this cap, which looks basically identical, it does not have the word buttress. So that's another thing that you've got to determine if you're choosing parts. So that's a very big determining factor. This particular one is a buttress style. So what I would do is do that, and I would actually go ahead and stick that up in there with the O-rings. Put a little Vaseline on it if you wanted to slicken it up, and you can see that that'll go together. You put your O-ring on like that, stick that down in there just like that right there, tighten it, and then put your handle on. You need to put your handle on where if the hot tub was here, you want it like this so the knob does not hit the edge of the hot tub. Another thing that we offer, if for some reason you needed to replace this entire valve, we offer kits for the valve. So what the standard installation would be is that street slip 90s, 2 of them, and then 3 pieces of 2-inch flex to glue to your old plumbing. You can see that. And then couplers. And the reason that I do the couplers is anytime you're gluing new to old, you always, I call it spin it to win it. So you would cut the old pipe, you glue this on with purple primer to the old pipe, and you spin these till they stop, and then you glue the new to this. You can glue new to new and not spin it and not even prime it. I like to prime it, but you can do it and not even prime it and it'll hold. If you glue old to new and you don't purple primer on it, blue glue, and spin it to win it, it will not seal. I also offer this with glue. We sell Christie's Red Hot Blue Glue as well. And here's an example of Christie's Red Hot Blue Glue. We have purple primer and blue glue, and we offer these in kits where you can buy just the valve, you can buy the valve with these parts, you can buy the valve with these parts, including the glue. So buy with confidence. We have all kinds of parts in our website, and we have videos to teach you the right things to buy, what not to buy. So don't be an uneducated buyer. Learn what you're doing. If you have questions, pick up the phone. We have a phone number and call us, and I can guide you. Don't buy this thinking you're buying this. All it does is hassles both of us, and it costs us both money, and we don't want to cost anybody money. What we're trying to do is help you. I am the spa guy, and we have Diverter Parts. Yes, we do. Go to our website and shop today. If you click this banner, it will take you to the diverters, and it'll take you to these kits and that kind of stuff, and you can see all of the what we call 3 3/4 diverters. A lot of people call 2-inch. I don't know much, but I do know hot tubs. Buy today.